Alright, what's up guys? So, there is this channel that I've been watching a lot lately called HopDaily. And yeah, they did this video called The Time Eminem Got Sued by His Childhood Bully. I did not hear of this. So here's the thing, like I do listen to Eminem, but I'm not gonna say that I'm like a big giant fan of Eminem. I've only heard like certain songs, and there was like one time where I did try to like go all the way back to like when he very first started and was listening to his music back then. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in because I'm like, dang, this dude got a lot of music. But anyways, I'm curious about this because I'm like, fam, what did you know? Eminem had to say something in his music or say the guy's name or something, and then that's why he took him to court and sued him. But I'm like, fam, for you to get sued by your childhood bully, you did something right. Now, for that, I'm gonna have to applaud you on that. I'm gonna have to applaud you because I'm like, that's good right there. That's good. So, guys, if you haven't, make sure you go subscribe to Hip Hop Daily for more videos like this. And yeah, and that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video. Once any full screens.
Rappers often draw upon real-life events to inspire their music. While some artists keep details vague enough to keep fans guessing, others paint a picture so vivid that there's no doubt that the story is true. Eminem is one of those rappers who makes every bar seem like a documentary about his life. His songs are so vivid that he was once sued by a childhood bully for describing him negatively in a song. Eminem is hip-hop royalty.
But it's like, fam, if he's referring to you as a bully, like, I mean,
and regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time.
Paint a picture.
He's among the best-selling.
It's like you had to realize it's like, okay, like if the person eventually finds the time to like stand up to you or whatever and stuff, you're just gonna have to take it. So
musical artists in the world, having sold over 220 million records worldwide and broke racial barriers by being one of the first white rappers to gain mainstream acceptance in hip-hop. But Eminem's life wasn't always easy. And before the fame and success, he had a pretty rough upbringing. Eminem's backstory is pretty well known at this point. He was born in St. Joseph, Missouri, but raised in Detroit, Michigan. M's father left the family after his mother separated and moved to California to raise his other family.
I've never seen his dad before. I'm like, it's, you know, I'm trying to think. I remember his mom was in a music video. He did like a song like dedicated to her and stuff. I remember that song, but I guess it kind of like resembles him, but that's like, I feel like 2021 is such a weird year. I'm like, somebody's gonna ask me like, oh, what was like something memorable this year? I feel like this is gonna come to mind. I'm like, I seen Eminem's father for the first time in the YouTube video, so.
Growing up, Em and his mom would bounce around from town to town between Missouri and Detroit, staying with friends and family members. They eventually settled in the 8 Mile area of Detroit, a primarily black working-class neighborhood where M was the target of bullies. One bully in particular, a dude named Deangelo Bailey, severely injured him in an assault in 1982. M was only 10 years old at the time and in the 4th grade, while Bailey was in the 6th. Deangelo beat up M so badly that his mom Debbie filed a lawsuit against the Macomb County School District in Michigan, where M attended elementary school. But a judge later dismissed the case, claiming that the school was immune to lawsuits. This event would have a major impact on M, and he would rap about it later in his career. M discovered hip-hop as a teenager after hearing the song Reckless featuring Ice-T from the soundtrack to the movie Breakin', a film from the 80s about breakdancing. M was inspired to write his own raps and started making
breakdancing movie I haven't really sat down and watched. There was the one I was watching the other day. I've seen it numerous times, Beach Street. But yeah, I like breakdancing movies. I don't know why I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to watch that movie one day.
In music at age 14. He started a group with his friend Mike Ruby, and they called themselves Mannix and Eminem. He would take part in local rap battles at a nearby high school with his friend and collaborator Proof, and would attend open mic contests to show his skills. He was respected by the underground hip-hop circles, but struggled to gain mainstream acceptance as a white rapper. He released his debut project, Infinite, in 1996. Although it got some local buzz, it was a commercial failure and largely ignored by radio DJs who told M to stick with rock and roll. On the project, M has more of a laid-back, underground rap style that isn't as shocking and dark as some of his later music. This massive rejection by the industry in Detroit led the rapper to start making angrier, more aggressive tracks. At the time, he was living with his on and off girlfriend Kim and his baby daughter Haley in a crime-ridden neighborhood in Detroit, struggling to make ends meet. After he was fired from his dishwashing job at a local restaurant 5 days before Christmas, things got really bad. He started driving farther and farther into substance abuse and even attempted to commit suicide. He had to move back into his mother's trailer with Kim and Haley, but it was around that time that he developed the Slim Shady persona that made him famous. Through his alter ego he began making angrier music that focused on themes of drug use, dark humor, sex, violence, and mental instability, as well as the struggles of making a living and raising a child in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. He released the Slim Shady EP in 1997, a project that started to gain him some of the attention he was after. After losing his job and getting evicted from his home, M went to Los Angeles to compete in the 1997 Rap Olympics. He placed second in the competition, and an intern from Interscope Records named Dean Geislinger asked M for a copy of his album, which he gave to the CEO of the company, Jimmy Iovine.
Wow.
Jimmy Iovine is a legendary music producer and label executive who's been responsible for shaping the careers of legendary acts like U2 and Tupac Shakur. Jimmy Iovine is well known for his partnership with Dr. Dre and was responsible for providing the initial financing and distribution for Death Row Records and later the creation of Beats by Dre. When Dean Geislinger brought Jimmy the Slim Shady LP, he immediately loved it and played it for Dre. Both he and Dre agreed that they needed to find M immediately, which is where the artist's luck began to turn. He released a Slim Shady LP on Interscope and Aftermath in 1999.
I remember it was this album. I think I was listening to some songs from it.
A project that was a more fleshed out version of the EP he released 2 years prior. On that project was a song called Brain Damage, where he raps about his old bully Deangelo Bailey. On the track, M attributes his odd personality and violent alter ego to the brain damage he suffered as a child after getting beaten up by Bailey. In the second verse of the song, he references his bully by name, saying, "Way before my baby daughter Haley, I was harassed daily by this fat kid named Deangelo Bailey, an 8th grader who acted obnoxious because his father boxes. So every day he'd shove me in the lockers. One day he came into the bathroom while I was pissing and had me in position and beat me into submission. He banged my head against the urinal till he broke my nose, soaked my clothes in blood, grabbed me and choked my throat." M goes on to paint a picture of the entire scene, even claiming the principal saw what was happening and joining in on the beating. M later admitted that he took some creative license with the story and that many of the details described were altered to fit the rhyme scheme and to create more drama. For instance, Deangelo Bailey was actually in 6th grade when he beat up M, not 8. And obviously, the principal did not join in on the beating. However, the Macomb County School District...
But he probably was just like, I think more so the reason why if he did, like, or why he said that is because it was like nobody didn't help him and things. So I guess it could fall like one and the same, where it's like if you do tell the principal and they don't do nothing, then it's like, I guess you can get that image and things. So I'm guessing that's why he said that. But if not, then wordplay.
Did reject the lawsuit, but they didn't do much help. Bailey would later sue Eminem for $1 million over this lyric, but not for a few years. The album was a huge success and went triple platinum. However, that success came along with a fair amount of controversy. Critics went after M for the graphically violent subject matter and explicit sexual content. However, this only fueled M's popularity and increased his notoriety. Quickly after the release of this project, M began working on the follow-up, and the Marshall Mathers LP was released in May 2000. The album sold 1.76 million records the first week, shattering the previous record by a long shot, and M became one of the most famous and controversial figures in music. But all the fame and attention brings negativity as well, and just a year later in 2001, the lyrics to one of his past songs, Brain Damage, came back to haunt him when he was sued by his former childhood bully, Deangelo Bailey. Bailey filed a $1 million lawsuit against the Slim Shady rapper, claiming that M made up false claims about Bailey and slandered his reputation. At the time, Bailey was working as a janitor in Roseville, Michigan. In the lawsuit, Bailey's lawyer wrote, "Eminem is a Caucasian male who faced criticism within the music industry that he had not suffered through difficult circumstances growing up, and he was, therefore, a pretender in the industry." Eminem used Bailey, his African-American childhood schoolmate, as a pawn in his effort to stem the tide of criticism. Bailey was accusing M of using him to gain street cred to be more accepted by black artists.
It's like, fam, my thing is that that particular, okay, like, if we're gonna talk on that song, maybe that because they was like, the dude behind this channel just said like it was for all the other things, like why he faced so much controversy behind the album. And so it was like they didn't even care about Deangelo Bailey. Like, nobody cared about Deangelo Bailey. We just gonna say that right now. And then also the one dude like taking his getting a copy of his album and then giving it to the guy that's part of Interscope Records. It's like that's why Eminem got to where he didn't get to where he got to because of Deangelo Bailey. Like, fam, it's like the only time I feel like the only famous Deangelo out there is that dude that was singing that song with his shirt off. So I'm like, that's the only famous Deangelo I think we all know of. But Deangelo Bailey, my thing is like I've never heard of a black person named Deangelo Bailey. I've heard of a black person named D'Angelo, but that name just don't sound right. So, anyways, I'm like, fam, I'm surprised you wasn't getting bullied by your name alone. So I'm like, cause that just don't. It's like. Was he light skinned at least? Like, I feel like, okay, if he's light skinned, I'm like, that sounds like a light skinned name. But if he's like my skin complexion, fam, like, yeah, I'm surprised you wasn't getting bullied. But anyways,
in the music industry in general. However, in April,
let me stop before he messes around and waits years down the road and then sues me for $1 million.
1999, Bailey admitted to Rolling Stone that the bullying did occur. In the interview, he said, "There was a bunch of us that used to mess with him, bully type things. We flipped him right on his head at recess. When we didn't see him moving, we took off running. We lied and said he slipped on the ice." Plus, there was also the record of M's mom unsuccessfully suing the school district back in 1982, claiming that constant bullying had caused him to exhibit nausea, headaches, and antisocial behavior, which is basically the entire premise of the song. She also later told Rolling Stone that after the attack by Bailey, M suffered a cerebral hemorrhage and was in and out of consciousness for 5 days.
Dang.
She even claims that the doctors wanted to give up on him, but she wouldn't let them. It's also worth mentioning that M and his mother have had a rocky relationship, and that she also filed her own $10 million lawsuit against the artist for defamation of character. She claims that M's depiction of his childhood is totally inaccurate. She says that she sheltered him from the violence of the inner city and wasn't the unstable drug user that he depicted her to be. In the song Cleaning Out My Closet on the Eminem Show album, M claimed that his mother suffered from a mental illness called Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a condition where a person will pretend that their child or someone close to them is sick just to gain attention for themselves. He has also claimed that his mother was addicted to Valium and used to sprinkle it on his food when he was younger to keep him from acting out, which led him to develop an addiction to the drug. He has referenced his relationship with his mother many times in his music, typically in a pretty unflattering light, so she ended up suing him as soon as he started getting famous. The case was settled in 2001 for only $25,000, out of which Deb Mathers only saw $1,600. The rest was awarded to her lawyer. So clearly, the judge didn't think M's depiction of his mother was too far-fetched, given how little money she received. Although, Deb Mathers did agree to settle for $25,000, despite claiming she was coerced into doing so. So, between the alleged mental disorders and the animosity toward her own son, it's tough to know how accurate Deb's side of the story is. M later apologized to his mother on the song Headlights in 2014. At the time, they were still not on good terms, and it's not clear whether they ever made up. However, the rapper has come a long way since, and perhaps an apology is possible someday. But just as M was settling the case with his mother, he was hit with a suit from Deangelo Bailey, and in a similar turn of events, Bailey did not receive the payout he expected. Where Bailey messed up was admitting that M fabricated the details in the story. If M had admitted private details that Bailey didn't want to be made public, he may have had a stronger case. However, the beating he gave the young Eminem was well documented, and he even admitted to it himself when talking to Rolling Stone magazine. There's nothing illegal about taking events from your past and dramatizing them for effect. In fact, that's what most rappers do. The only leg Bailey had to stand on was the fact that M name dropped him directly in the song. If he was a popular artist whose career had been damaged by the name drop, or he could prove that he somehow suffered harassment because of the song, he also may have had a better case. But in the end, the lawsuit seemed like a blatant cash grab than an issue of harassment. Judge Deborah Servito dismissed the lawsuit in 2003 in a manner that made headlines because of how she delivered the verdict. She made up her own rap to give her ruling that went, "Mr. Bailey complains that his rap is trash, so he's seeking compensation in the form of cash. Bailey thinks he's entitled to some monetary gain because Eminem used his name in vain. The lyrics are stories no one would take as fact. They're an exaggeration of a childish act. It's therefore the court's ultimate position that Eminem is entitled to summary deposition." Summary deposition means that M won the case and Bailey was not entitled to any money from the suit. The judge dismissed the case because the scene described in the song is clearly cartoonish and no one would actually believe the exact events were true. Bailey and his lawyer clearly mishandled the case from the beginning. They tried to make it about race by saying Eminem was a Caucasian who was using Bailey, an African American, to gain sympathy about his upbringing. But there was no way the listener could know that unless they knew who Bailey was already. Secondly, They tried to say that the song was affecting Bailey's rap career, with little proof that he had a real rap career to begin with.
Exactly.
Finally, they claimed that he
I was saying, like, unless you were the Deangelo we all know, then it's like, oh, okay. Well, but I'm like, if not, then I'm like, fam, who are you? Like,
fictionalized many elements of the song, except for the central premise, which was that he did bully Eminem pretty severely when they were kids, and there is documented evidence to prove it. It seems kind of far-fetched that Bailey and his lawyer would even think that they had a shot at winning, although I guess it was worth a shot. M has been sued several times by his family members and those close to him growing up, from his mom to his ex-wife to his childhood bully, and somehow always.
Yeah, I was like, because if you guys listen, I remember I was listening to Till I Collapse, and he did name drop his girlfriend or ex-wife, whoever it was, but I'm like, dang, bro, like,
manages
chill
to
out.
come out on top. Despite all his success, the dude has had a pretty rocky personal life and really likes making songs about violently assaulting and murdering people from his past. But he does it in a way that is so creative and outlandish that it's hard for those lawsuits to stick.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Eminem has put his past behind him, and today sticks to this in safer targets like Donald Trump and MGK. But you never know really when the old Slim Shady is gonna come back. If you like this video, check out some of our previous videos. From rappers getting ran up on to rappers that are killers. We cover the most insane stories that you need to hear.
Them videos be
Well,
crazy.
that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments what you'd like to see in the future. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so you never miss any great content like this.
Do that.
Catch you in the next video.
Yeah. Shout out to Eminem, man. Like out here standing up to his childhood bully. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's like out here suing me because you bullied me. Like that's dumb. I'm like, yeah, that guy. It's like, sorry, Deangelo, you wasn't winning that one. So, but anyways, yeah, that was a pretty good video. Shout out to Hip Hop Daily. If you guys haven't yet, definitely go subscribe to their channel. It's a pretty good channel. I enjoyed every video I've seen from them. So, anyways, yeah, make sure you go subscribe to them, subscribe to me too, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.